Okay, let's unpack this. If you're trying to get better at speaking English, especially when it's, not your first language, you hear this advice all the time.
Oh, yeah. Just speak more.
Exactly. Just speak more. Sounds simple, right? But what if you're learning solo? You don't have a practice partner.
Or what if just the thought of opening your mouth makes you feel, well, incredibly nervous?
Yeah. Then that simple tip suddenly feels like hitting a brick wall.
It's a real catch-22 for so many learners, isn't it? You need the speaking practice to improve, but you hesitate because you don't feel confident.
Right.
But the insights we're diving into today really tackle this head-on, and they offer a surprisingly powerful path forward.
Which is?
That you can dramatically improve your spoken English using podcasts, even if you're practicing completely on your own.
Okay, so that's the core mission for this deep dive then. We've pulled together material that give you a practical, step-by-step blueprint. Taking something you might already do, listening to podcasts, and turning it into active or effective speaking practice.
Yeah, our job here is to pull out the most important bits, the knowledge, the actual steps.
The actionable stuff.
Exactly. How to use podcasts specifically to build fluency and, importantly, confidence in spoken English.
So let's start there. Why podcasts? Why are they highlighted as such a powerful tool for English learners? What's special about them?
Well, it's kind of amazing how many benefits they bundle together. I mean, first off, it's the authenticity.
Right. You hear how people actually speak, not textbook English.
Precisely. You get the real rhythm, the ums and ahs, the fillers, the way sentences naturally flow. It just sounds, well, real.
And you get exposed to different accents, expressions you wouldn't find in a book.
Absolutely. Plus, they're just so flexible, aren't they? You can learn anywhere.
Commuting, cooking, walking the dog.
Anytime. Which immediately knocks down a huge barrier, right? Needing a specific time, a specific place, another person.
Yeah, that scheduling nightmare. Fun.
And beyond just listening, podcasts give you incredible models for speaking. You absorb pronunciation, intonation, sentence patterns just by hearing them used again and again.
Which links to another key point, I think.
Yeah.
They're perfect for repetition.
Oh, definitely. It's so easy to just rewind, loop a short bit, really nail down a tricky sound or a phrase you want to use.
And the source material mentions using them for specific, speaking drills. What does that actually mean?
Okay, so this is where we get into the how it works bit. There's a core principle here. The input, what you hear, directly shapes your output, what you say.
Makes sense. Your brain's building a library based on what it takes in.
You got it. So the better the input, the better the potential output. And certain techniques really turbocharge this. Shadowing is probably the big one.
Shadowing. That's repeating what you hear almost as you hear it.
Exactly. Almost simultaneously. Research shows it really boosts fluency, helps with pronunciation, makes you process spoken English faster.
Wow, okay.
Then there's chunk learning. So not just single words, but learning whole useful phrases.
Like learning, you know what I mean? Or that's wild as one block instead of word by word.
Yeah.
By word.
Precisely. You're grabbing these ready-made, natural-sounding units, and simple repetition, doing it over and over, trains your mouth and brain.
Gets them working together.
Right. So you start speaking without constantly translating in your head first.
Which is a goal for so many people.
Absolutely. And the end result, according to the experts pushing these methods, more confidence, real fluency gains, and actually being able to communicate better out there in the real world.
That sounds like exactly what learners are looking for. Yeah. So how do we do it? The material lays out a pretty clear 5-step method, turning podcast listening into a personal speaking class.
Yeah, it's very practical.
Let's walk through it. Step 1, choose the right podcast. What are we looking for?
Okay, this is crucial. You need clear, natural pronunciation, especially if you're beginner or intermediate. Native or near-native speakers are usually best.
Makes sense.
The topic has to interest you. You won't stick with it otherwise. And, this is key, the podcast must have transcripts available.
Transcripts. Essential for checking details, spelling.
Totally essential. And there are some specific suggestions given depending on your level. For beginners, maybe something like The English We Speak from BBC or VOA Learning English. They often speak a bit slower, clearer.
Okay, learner-focused stuff.
Right. Then for intermediate, maybe All Ears English, 6-Minute English, real English conversations. Good, solid options.
And for the more advanced?
If you're ready for faster, more complex stuff, Luke's English podcast, the English Coach podcast, even mainstream things like The Daily from the New York Times or TED Talks Daily. Loads to choose from.
Great. So you've found your podcast. Step 2.
Step 2 is active listening. And this is not just having it on in the background. That's passive listening. It has some benefit maybe, but it won't build speaking skills like this will.
So active means paying close attention.
Yes. Choose a short episode, maybe just 5, 10, 15 minutes max. Get a notebook or an app ready and listen, but pause. Pause often.
Okay, pause and do what?
You're listening for things, useful phrases, interesting ways people say things, how they connect ideas, note them down.
And focus on those chunks again, not just single words.
Exactly. Grab things like, how's it going? Believe it or not. Or connectors like, so anyway, the building blocks of conversation.
Got it. Focus on the flow. Okay, step 3 is called the secret in the material. Big buildup. What is it?
Yeah. Step 3 is shadowing. This is the technique lots of language pros swear by. It's listening and speaking at the same time.
Right, speaking along with the audio, not waiting for a gap.
Precisely. You play a tiny segment, like 5 to 10 seconds, then immediately repeat exactly what you heard.
Mimicking everything.
Everything. Pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, pauses, the whole musicality. Use the transcript if you need to check a word. And the key is repetition. Repeat that same little clip again and again. Try to sound more like the original each time.
That sounds intense, like trying to copy a song perfectly.
It is intense at first, but that's where the magic happens. You're building muscle memory, training your mouth, your tongue, your brain to make the sounds and patterns quickly, accurately.
Okay, so it builds fluency, helps with accent, makes
Gives
you
us
speak
fruits.
faster.
All of that. And here's the kicker from the material. Just 10 to 15 minutes of this every day. They claim you can see dramatic results in just a few weeks.
Wow. 10, 15 minutes a day for dramatic results in weeks. That's a big promise. But motivating. Okay, what's step 4?
Step 4 is pause and respond. This pushes you towards actually producing your own speech spontaneously.
Okay, how does that work?
So after you've maybe shadowed a section, you listen again, but this time you pretend you're in the conversation. If the podcast host asks a question,
You pause it.
you pause it, and you answer the question out loud, in your own words, using your vocabulary, even if it's simple.
So they ask, what do you think about X? You actually stop and say, well, I think.
Exactly that. The material calls this maybe the hardest step, but also the most important, because it builds that confidence to speak on the spot.
Which is what real conversation demands. Makes sense. And the last step, step 5.
Step 5, summarize and reflect. Simple idea. When you're done working with the episode, summarize the whole thing out loud in your own English.
What kind of things do you include in the summary?
You know, what was the main topic? What did the speakers talk about? Did you agree or disagree with something? Any new words or phrases you picked up? Would you recommend it?
And you can do this how? Just talk to yourself.
You could. Or you could record yourself using your phone, great for tracking progress later.
Yeah.
Or write it in an English journal. Or even use an AI speaking partner if you have one. Gives you options.
Yeah, flexible. And the material mentions some tools too to kind of boost the whole process.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Obviously, the podcast apps themselves, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, whatever you use. Some have transcripts built in now. Then tools like Language Reactor can add subtitles to YouTube if you prefer video. For vocab, those flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet are fantastic for spaced repetition. Keeps the new words fresh.
Right, the spaced repetition helps things stick.
And just the basic voice memo app on your phone is perfect for recording yourself shadowing or summarizing so you can actually hear your progress over time.
Building a little ecosystem around your practice.
Nice. Yeah, motivation. That's always the tricky part in language learning, isn't it? How did the material suggest staying on track?
Consistency was flagged as number 1. Absolutely vital. Make it a daily habit, even if it's just that short 10, 15 minutes of shadowing.
Integrate it somehow.
Yeah, hook it onto something you already do. Your morning coffee, your commute. Find online groups maybe, people discussing the same podcasts. That helps.
Community aspect.
Right. Set small, achievable goals. I'll do 3 episodes this week. Don't be afraid to repeat old episodes. That reinforcement is powerful. And listening back to your recordings, that can be incredibly motivating when you hear yourself improving. Seeing or hearing the progress, definitely. Were there any, pro tips mentioned? Quick hits from fluent speakers?
Yeah, a few really good sharp ones. One was blunt. Don't translate in your head, copy the way natives speak.
Just mimic. Don't overthink.
Pretty much. Another, use what you hear, speak it aloud, use it in real situations, make it active.
Kick it off the screen and into the world.
There is a specific tactic too. Repeat short clips 10 times. Master the rhythm. It works. Very focused.
10 times. Wow.
And this one's really important, I think. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Get the feel of the language.
Yes, that removes so much pressure. You don't need 100% comprehension for the speaking practice part to work.
Exactly. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear. Podcasts aren't just for listening. They're active training tools for speaking if you use these kinds of techniques.
You don't need a teacher standing over you, or even a practice partner, really.
Not for this core practice, no. You just need the podcast, the active listening, the repetition, the speaking aloud, and, the willingness to actually try it.
So the advice is, maybe start small. One short episode a day. Focus on the shadowing, the responding.
That seems like a great starting point. Build the habit.
And the promise, the really exciting thing from the material is that in just weeks, you could start noticing your English really coming alive. Not just words but how you sound, your rhythm, even how you think.
Yeah, it's about activating what you already know and building on it rapidly.
So maybe the question for you listening is, how could dedicating just a little time each day to this kind of focused active practice transform your experience of speaking English?